Well, we have another super fan of John Waters and Divine coming in, and that's Mr. B Nation. Mr. B, come in.
Hello, Amber.
Hello there. Hello there. All right, Mr. B Nation. First, tell us where you are physically and then where you are from originally.
Physically, I'm in Ontario in Canada, just north of Toronto.
But that accent is not quite Canadian.
No, I'm originally from Glasgow, Scotland, but I'm got dual citizenship now and I'm Canadian.
Well, very good. Very good. So, when did you become attracted to John Waters and Divine?
Like Scott said, like a lot of people, it would have been Hairspray was my introduction. And the love of Divine, though, came not through Hairspray, because in Hairspray, Edna's not the most glamorous of characters. But in the UK, Divine was very famous as the disco and high energy star. So I knew Divine from music videos and from Top of the Pops. And I just made the connection somehow of Divine from Hairspray and Divine from Top of the Pops, and realizing that this person was a chameleon and could go from this filthy old man into this glamorous icon.
Did you ever see Divine in person?
Oh no, I'm far too young.
Oh. You can't see my finger down here.
No, I'm afraid. The time where me and Divine's lives overlapped, I would have been far too young to be in any of the nightclubs or anything where Divine was appearing. So I wish.
What do you do with your fandom? Your admiration?
Well, I funnel mine onto fan art online on Instagram. I watch the movies endlessly. So when I draw, I naturally will draw the movies. These are my favorite characters in my favorite movies. So I will just draw them again and again endlessly.
That's your profession, or is that
No,
artwork?
no, absolutely not a profession at all. This is just a hobby. This is just what I do. That was one of my pieces there. And there's another one that's me imagining a Pink Flamingos poster without using any of the common iconography. That was my challenge for that one, to not use anything that has ever been used for one of the posters before. So I'll do things like that.
Do we have another one?
Oh, yep. That was me from a series I done where it was Pink Flamingos and the style of a kid's reading alphabet book. So that was D is for Do My Balls Mama. And that's the name of John's tour, and I guess his philosophy via movies. And this is Matisse versus mixed in with some John Waters from Female Trouble, mixing up some old art with some new art. Classic Pink Flamingos. Classic.
What's your medium? What's your medium? What do you work with?
I do digitally. So I started on Instagram. When I started my very first drawings that I would do on Instagram, I drew on a phone. I used a stylus and I drew tiny, and I would have to zoom in and I would draw on a phone. And then I worked my way up till I eventually got an iPad, and now I draw on an iPad. So that way, if I make a mistake, I can backspace and fix it. And that means I can produce a full drawing in one night. So that's why I can do so many, because the medium I used is very quick, and I can hyper focus, and I will do something full drawing in one evening.
What do you do with those pieces?
Nothing. I post them on Instagram, and hope for people like them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're a bit too much of a stretch for people's imaginations in John Waters' worlds. So
that's kind of hard to believe that someone in John Waters' world has a limited view or limited imagination.
Oh yeah, exactly. So like some of the more conceptual ones. So like the drawing that you showed there of the Matisse one. That one, when I originally posted that, maybe last year, the year before, nobody cared. It was too much for people to think Matisse and Female Trouble, and what would they look like if Matisse watched Female Trouble. That was my inspiration. But now I reposted it this week, and more people liked it. So more different people taste change. More people will understand my humor or my references. So I just keep changing it to make it interesting for myself.
Why don't you sell them on T-shirts or posters?
I do. I have T-shirts. I do some T-shirts on my website. That's
Oh.
one of them. Blame John Waters. That's one of my favorite ones because that's my answer to a lot of things. Is just blame John Waters. That's why I think it's funny. I do T-shirts and then I make pins. I turn some of them into
Oh,
little enamel pins. And there's like one of Disco Era Divine. Woohoo, if I can get it on camera.
it was
Some glitter.
beautiful.
And then I do some more like I said, some more weird mashup ones. So there's like Connie and Raymond as Beavis and Butthead, just as this cackling pair of monsters. So occasionally I'll do pins, and that's because I was trying to find some pins online, and that's when I discovered that the studios and whoever owns them don't do any of it. So there is no real merchandise out there. So I had to just make my own. And to do that, I had to make tiny batches and I had to sell what remained. So that's what I had done as a little side business.
All right, and let's post his address one more time up there where they can get contact with Mr. B there, Mr. B Nation at Instagram.
Mr. B Nation. Yep.
All right. All right. Now, Mr. B, hang in there. We're going to have you back, and we'll talk with Scott and Irving, and you can talk amongst each other about John Waters. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. B.